Tonight, another disturbing act of burning a copy of the Quran in Ramadan. Condemnations pour in as Muslims are horrified by the hateful event. The horrendous act shows rising Islamophobia in Europe. And
we have strong institutions and a resilient financial system that is the envy of the world.
Canada's federal budget in the spotlight. A grocery rebate, tax-free home savings, and a new dental plan. Will the promises be helpful in the face of rising costs? From the vaults, tips and tricks to stay hale and hearty this Ramadan.
And I would say with nutrition, too much of the bad stuff, not enough of the good stuff in general. You know, they're just overeating the wrong food.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Catherine Bullock. A far-right Danish group called in English The Patriots Go Live has burned a copy of the Quran this past Sunday in front of the Turkish embassy in Copenhagen. They also burned the Turkish flag while broadcasting live on Facebook. The Turkish Foreign Ministry said Ankara rejects, quote, vile actions being allowed under the guise of freedom of expression. It said the hate crime reveals alarming levels of Islamophobia in Europe. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Morocco, and Pakistan also denounced the horrific act. There have been several Quran burnings already this year in Europe. Canada brought in its federal budget yesterday at $432 billion, with an emphasis on helping Canadians fight the high cost of living. The budget was introduced in the House of Commons by Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister. She said her 250-page budget was continuing Canada's, quote, proud tradition of fiscal responsibility to help low and middle income Canadians cope with the spiraling cost of living. The budget provides $2.5 billion in a grocery rebate. Other incentives include funds to boost provincial healthcare, a new dental plan, a tax-free home savings plan, manufacturing in clean tech, and capping charges on loans at 35%. Many Muslims face challenges in the workplace when it comes to practicing religion. This can be especially so during Ramadan, the month of fasting. Sarah Saska, co-founder of consultancy Feminuity, says to a media source that Islamophobia is often left out of broader diversity and inclusion within many workplaces. She says companies do not consider Muslim occasions as significant because they operate on Christian-centric calendars. Waqas Shafiq, Director of Financial Sustainability at the Muslim Association of Canada, says companies should begin by educating themselves on the demographics of their workforce and how they practice religion so they can support their workers. An appeals court in the US state of Maryland has reinstated the murder conviction of Adnan Syed, the 1999 killing of his former girlfriend. Syed, who is now 41, was released last September after serving more than 2 decades in prison for murder. Prosecutors provided new DNA evidence that pointed to other suspects exonerating him. But the appellate court of Maryland said the lower court had violated the rights of the victim's brother to attend a key hearing in person. Legal experts say these are procedural issues and they do not expect Syed to be sent back to prison during the interim. The victim's family say they are satisfied with the court's decision. Thank you for watching. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or go to our website muslimnetworktv to make a donation so that we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad. To cope with fasting in Ramadan, some people try to sleep as much of the day as possible. And there are others amongst us who seem to be superhuman, going to the gym or doing gym class as regular. To talk to us today about fitness and nutrition during Ramadan, we have with us Sister Carly McEnany. Welcome to the show. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. A lot of people want to know what you've got to say. Now, you've been a nutritionist for over 20 years and a certified trainer for over 6. What's the number one error you see people making during Ramadan?
Well, with regards to fitness, I think that a lot of people basically think that they can't exercise during Ramadan at all, and they just exclude it completely. And I would say with nutrition, too much of the bad stuff, not enough of the good stuff in general. You know, they're just overeating the wrong foods, and therefore it's sort of counteracting what's going on inside their bodies for the benefits of the physical fasting. So
Okay, so those are 2 very important streams. Maybe we'll take them one by one. Let's
sure.
talk about those who are afraid of exercising in Ramadan. Maybe I shouldn't confess this, but I feel like that myself. I'm going to get too thirsty if I do fitness. That's what I say to myself. So what's your advice for people like us?
So I think you need to figure out what works for you in terms of timing. And of course, you need to think about intensity. You're not going to be exercising to really make much gains during this month. Rather, it's more about maintenance. So going into it with the right mindset that you don't have to push yourself till you fall over like you would in a regular workout if that's how you work out. Rather, you minimize the intensity, you minimize the time, you give yourself rest time between sets if you are doing sets. Perhaps for you, it's just going for a walk. But pick something that is suitable for yourself. And I would also say that the time of day is also important with regards to when you're doing it. So you have to sort of pick when works for you. For me, a lot of my clients and myself like to train between Asr and Maghrib. That way we know that we will soon be breaking our fast after our workout. And one thing that is extremely important to know for everybody is that it's a miracle of the fasting is that we really do not become dehydrated when we're fasting. Our fat cells actually break down and convert into water throughout our fasting. So for those who are looking to fat burn, don't worry about becoming dehydrated as long as you are eating the right foods in the evening and you are drinking enough water or eating your water, perhaps you will be just fine.
Oh, well, that's good to know. So then that brings us on to the second part of what you'd said earlier about eating the wrong foods. And it's true,
Right.
we have these jokes in the community that the time we eat like the most and the best is during Ramadan, and women spend hours and hours in the kitchen feasts.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
So I think that we should just, make Ramadan special. There's no question. But there's ways of making it special, but keeping it healthy. And I think that when it comes to suhoor and iftar time, so the pre-dawn meal and breaking your fast at sunset, I think that first you need to take care of your hydration. First of all, often we overeat because we're thirsty and our brain doesn't signal correctly. So we need to make sure that our hydration is taken care of. This will sort of set yourself up so that you're not overeating. Also, what you're eating needs to be balanced. Really, I know I'm probably sound like a broken record, but if you are going to choose to eat high processed, refined carbohydrates and fried foods every time you break your fast, you are sabotaging the physical benefits of your fasting. And this is something that we just need to be mindful of. We are here to fast not only for the spiritual reason, of course, this is the highest regard, but physical benefits are there for us to gain from, and Allah wants our bodies to be strong and healthy. Our bodies are amana, so we have to keep in mind to avoid those refined carbohydrates and fried foods, and they're usually high in sodium too, or high in sugar, one of the two. They break down in such a way that we become overloaded with too much salt, too much sugar, and too much of the wrong fat. So fresh food.
Some examples of what those wrong foods are before you tell us what the good foods are. If you say high in carbohydrates or high processed, let's make it concrete.
Okay, so refined carbohydrates and something that's deep fried. Let's just go with the well-known samosa, the notorious samosa. Okay, it's deep fried. It's covered in pastry that's been made from refined flour, which, once in a while is okay to have a samosa. But when you are accumulating 1 or 2 or 3, or sometimes people even have more than that, almost every day during your fasting, it is the accumulation that is quite scary. Another example is different cultures make different types of like flatbreads. These two are commonly only used with white flour. So white flour basically breaks down into as sugar in your body. It once it's metabolized, because of all the nutrients are stripped from it. So it becomes very basic and sugar-like. So these are the types of things that we need to be careful. The sweet drinks, the tea and the milk and the cream in our teas at night as well. And just overall, anything fried, depending on which culture you come from, it depends. A lot of white rice might be consumed, which is also going to spike your insulin response in your body, which too much of is not good at all. So
this sounds like, I don't know if I should use the word ordinary, but this is like we're supposed to avoid these foods anyway, not just during Ramadan, but you're trying to say extra attention during
moderation, portion control. Vegetables and fruits should be in a high priority as you're breaking your fast, along with water. And then, of course, your protein and your healthy fats. So the physical benefits that happen throughout our body, both, in a general level, but also on a cellular level in our bodies, they're benefits that, the studies show that people who eat well during suhoor and iftar time are the people who really exasperate those physical benefits. And what that means is, higher protein, higher healthy fats, more foods that don't spike your blood sugar, allows your body to repair, regenerate healthy cells, boosts your immune system, helps your body, basically enables it to fight off of many different types of diseases and illnesses, keeps your blood sugar in check, keeps your blood pressure in check, keeps your mental acuity in check. These are the things that can happen if you're fasting, but you're eating well at suhoor and iftar time. If you're not eating well at those times, then all of those benefits that I just mentioned won't necessarily take place.
And what about the poor people who suffer with coffee and have to have a date and rush to drink their cup of coffee? Let's say something about that.
Yeah. So personally, I am a coffee lover. I love the aroma. I love the taste. I like the caffeine. However, what I do is, before Ramadan starts, I start to lower my coffee intake. This is the first thing. And then even the day before I start fasting, I don't have coffee. So that the day that I do fast, I am in a much better place. And alhamdulillah, that has worked very well for me. This is what I suggest. Coffee is a stimulant. Caffeine is a stimulant. So you want to make sure that you are thinking about giving your body a little bit of a break from this stimulus effect that it has on your body and that it has on your adrenal glands. We tend to burn those glands out. Those are the 2 glands that sit on top of your kidneys in your back. And so they get burnt out very easily. And fatigue is a huge symptom of adrenal burnout. So we need to make sure that we consider at least reducing, if not going off coffee or tea altogether, just to give your body a little bit of a break. It is important. I recommend this. And if some people, they can't do it and they won't do it, that's fine. However, you should try to think about reducing it.
Okay, so maybe a tip for next Ramadan, because it's too late to stop drinking the day in advance. We're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching Canadian Muslim News. If you like what we do, please share and like and subscribe. Stay safe and God bless.